Welcome back to your Monday night Fulham Fix, your fortnightly show about everything to do with Fulham for you guys, the fans. And joining us for our very first Premier League Fulham Fix of the season, one half of our matchday commentary dream team, Mr. Jamie Reid. Jamie, how are you?
I'm very well. Delighted that the new season is nearly upon us.
Oh yeah, it's going to be an exciting one. I'm starting to get the buzz now. It's almost upon us.
Yeah, absolutely. Great to be back up in the Premier League.
It's where we deserve to be. It is where we deserve to be. Also joining us for our very first Fulham Fix of the Premier League campaign, a man who finally signed that ting. Officially a Fulham player through and through. He's our rock in the middle, Harrison Reid. Harrison, how are you, man?
I'm great. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad at all. Me and Jamie were just saying how buzzed we are. We did finally sign that thing. How does it feel to now officially be a Fulham player through and through?
Feels great, to be honest. I can finally relax now and get my head down and work hard, and I'm looking forward to the season. It's great to be here, to be honest, and to be able to call this my home now for the foreseeable future. It's a great feeling for me and my family.
I don't think I've ever experienced such a barrage of tweets from fans relentlessly. Even, I'd tweet something out about Fulham or whatever, and even in my responses, it was tell Harrison to sign, has Harrison signed? So I don't know if, Jamie, you had a similar thing with any of your tweets.
Yeah, rightly so, because he was such a rock. I think that is the best word. I can't think of many players that when we lose control of the football and the opposition have got it, he wins it back so quickly. He's good at using the football effectively. He is a complete midfield player, and we're so lucky to have him in the engine room.
Absolutely. Harrison, were you aware of these relentless tweets? You must have been at it in them tons of times, no?
Yeah, I was relaxing on holiday and my phone constantly going. No, it was great. It was great, obviously, to see the fans' response after the playoff final and throughout the season, to be fair. I was on the beach relaxing and I was getting these tweets through, and to say I wasn't tempted to like a few and respond to a few just to give them a little bit of a tease would be a lie. But I held off, and obviously once it was released, it was a great feeling to then have the influx of messages again and buzzing. Yeah.
So did you know that you were going to sign from the end of the playoff final? Was that always 100% in your mind?
In my mind, yeah, there was no question. It was just about getting it done, I guess. And these things take time. And for me, obviously, getting the updates day to day, it was always positive and it's going to happen. But for the fans, they don't know what's going on. And obviously, it's a long wait. It was a long wait. I was fully confident it was going to happen. And I couldn't wait to sign it and be a Fulham player.
There can't be too many moments in life that sort of feel that good. You've just been promoted to the Premier League. You're on holiday. Where did you go on holiday?
Mykonos.
Mykonos. You're on holiday in Mykonos. You're chilling out on the beach, and your phone is just full of love and admiration. I mean, that must be. Did that make it a really, really easy decision?
Yeah, it certainly helps. I mean, the love from the fans throughout the whole season, not just them, was incredible, and I really felt it. And yeah, of course, it made my decision and my thinking so much easier, knowing that the fans were fully behind it, and so were the club. And obviously, for me, it's about playing and making the fans proud, and to know that I did that last season is a really good thing.
Oh yeah, you really did. And it must be as well a very, very nice feeling. I think after a series of loan moves, obviously from Southampton, Norwich and Blackburn, came to Fulham. It must be really nice now to be able to settle down somewhere and call somewhere your home.
Yeah, exactly. It's been in my thinking this season. It's the moment I stepped through the door, I felt that this was the place that matched my ambition, that it was a perfect fit for me. And then it was over to me to give the club the reason and prove myself to the manager and the club to actually sign me permanently, and it was then up to me to perform in the games, and thankfully I did that, and we came to the agreement, and I'm over.
And also for your partner as well to be able to actually settle somewhere as well, like to actually, because you must have stayed in sort of many kind of half places, as it were. there's no point unpacking everything because you're going to move on probably next season. It must have been a nice for yourself, but also for her to be able to kick back. What was it? It was a phrase my dad uses, which is put your feet under the table?
Put your feet under the table.
Phrase? I'm looking at you, Jamie. I don't know why.
I think that is the phrase, yeah. And it's lovely to have Harrison with his feet under the table because
there we go.
Come in if I can at this point and talk about that because I guess it's a little bit like being the new kid in school, isn't it? That when you're going from place to place, you've touched on the fact that you want to find a home, Ivan, and I can pick up on that. But when you're a player, Harrison, how quickly do you realise that the place where you are, i.e. Fulham, and we're delighted that you've chosen Fulham, how quickly do you realise, do you know what, I'd love to stay here long term?
Yeah, for me it was very quick, and with the transfer last season, the loan move with the option to turn into a permanent, it was always in my mind that I needed to come here and prove myself and to make that permanent. From the first conversation with the manager to the first time I kicked the ball in the training ground, I came home and spoke to my girlfriend, and I think she got the feeling from me that this is where I wanted to be calling home. And she's obviously from 45 minutes down the road, so she was thrilled. I dragged her to Norwich, I dragged her to Blackburn, and now to be living here, it's great for us both.
And how close are you to the cottage where you're staying? You don't have to give up your actual address. But,
Shall I put a location on it?
Yeah. Do a little drop in.
No, I'm in Surrey, so about 45 minutes to the cottage and 15 to the training ground, so it's ideal.
Perfect. Well, listen, we've got a lot to talk about. And before we look forward to this weekend and the start of our Premier League campaign, we're going to look back briefly and discuss our big three. And this is the point of the show, where we look back and discuss the big three talking points in the world of Fulham, usually from the last couple of weeks. But as we've been in lockdown, we haven't done these for a few months. So we're going to discuss our big three talking points from the last month or so. And of course, number one has to be our playoff final against Brentford. First up, how was the playoff final for you, Harrison? How was it being at Wembley? I know it must have been pretty surreal without any fans there.
Yeah, it was amazing. The build-up of the whole day, we stayed over at the hotel the night before, and waking up and pulling the curtains and seeing the arch and walking for a coffee down Wembley Way and seeing the stadium and knowing that that's where you need to perform tonight. The day as a whole was amazing to look back on. We turned up, we performed, and we got the win and back to the Premier League where we belong. But like you touched on about the fans, it was obviously bitterly disappointing not to share that journey and share that day with them. And that's probably the only negative of the whole day. To be honest, it was amazing to get the win for the club and the fans. It's something that I will always remember.
Do you find it easy to sleep before a big game like that?
I usually do, but that's probably the biggest game I've played in of my career. And put your head on the pillow the night before, and you're constantly thinking of the outcome and your performance. And I think I struggled for about an hour to get to sleep, and then you're thinking, "Oh, I'm going to be tired the next day." But I got to sleep all right, and it was the longest day in the world, the day of the game. Obviously, with the 7:45 kickoff, you just wanted to be there and to wake up and have your breakfast and play, but it wasn't to be. But looking back on it now, it was an amazing day to really soak up the atmosphere. And you saw a few fans floating around Wembley when we went for coffee, and it was an amazing day.
Nice. And to be fair, we tend to do pretty well in the evenings. Evening games tend to be our thing.
Yeah, I picked up on that early on when we were playing Friday night games. We kept winning, and Saturday 3:00 turned into a bit of a nightmare sometimes. But over the course of the season, it was obviously we got the job done.
Jamie, how was it for you? This is your second Wembley final with Fulham. How did it compare?
Well, we got a quite brilliant record, haven't we, over recent times at Wembley with the 2 wins from 2. So it was absolutely fantastic from the first moment right until the final whistle. And I think Harrison sort of touched on the fact we went and we got the job done. And that's kind of how it felt to me and to Jim commentating and watching on. Away to our left-hand side, we could see the players who weren't involved. We could see the bench just in front of us. And then we could see all the players out there working so hard. You kind of get an even better atmosphere, if you like, in your mind, perhaps without fans. I know that might sound really bizarre, and I'd love fans to be in the stadium. Of course I would. But you can hear what's going on. You can hear the players shouting. Perhaps you get a better sort of viewpoint in your mind. And it was just great to see everybody going away with their business. Harrison flying into tackles, making sure that he won the ball back, giving it to teammates. Absolutely brilliant, wasn't it, from start to finish? And do you know what? I just felt the boys were in control from the first whistle, Ivan, and it's so pleasing as somebody watching on, as a fan, getting that sort of vibe.
Yeah. No, I agree. I felt, weirdly, I was very, very nervous. Of course we were. We'd struggled against Brentford twice this season, but at no point did it feel like they were ever really a threat. Harrison, I don't know how you feel about that. Were you nervous, firstly, about facing Brentford, knowing twice we'd come up against them in the season and twice we'd lost?
It's a funny one, because you'd think, yes, you would be, but I felt like, especially in the home game, we performed really well, and it was the last 10 minutes where a couple of sloppy goals. But going into the game, I felt that they weren't ever going to beat us 3 times in a season. And obviously, there was a little bit of talk before the game, which worked in our favour at the end of the day. And we were fired up, and the manager played a massive part before the game. He shared about his experiences at Wembley and captaining the country, and he said it's all about being calm and executing. And I think that played a massive part in the game.
And personally, I can't remember which player it was now for Brentford who said that Fulham fear us. I can't remember, but did that? Yeah, did that help? Did you hear that? Does that work in your favour for you?
Yeah, it can only work in our favour. It's a little bit extra motivation, and not that we needed it, to be honest. But of course, when he's talking before the game about them sorts of things, it comes back to bite you sometimes. It certainly did.
And it certainly did. They did seem to bottle it. I've got to ask you as well, Jamie. How was Jim? How was Jim prior to kickoff? And how was he after? I mean, I know he especially hates Brentford. I think it's because he lives in Brentford and his neighbours are all Brentford fans. And I mean, he really. I mean, when you speak to him about Brentford, especially, there's no love there.
There's certainly not. No, there's certainly not. In fact, there's a lot of loathing, I would say, and perhaps stronger words than that. He despises Brentford, he really does. So to get the job done and put in such a good performance, Ivan, it was absolutely brilliant. He was like a kid at Christmas to start with, and let's just put it this way, it was almost like he was on fizzy sweets and fizzy drinks. He was so hyped up for it. And he really did enjoy it. And do you know what? It was almost like the culmination of a real hard season, because the players seemed to get better and better. They understood their jobs. They understood their roles in the team. And I'd just like to get Harrison's sort of thought on that, Ivan, because you have to think to yourself, Scott was a quite wonderful midfield player. You mentioned about him telling the whole team what they needed to do at Wembley, and he'd had that experience captaining England. What's Scott like to you, Harrison? Because you play a similar sort of position. How good has he been as a mentor to you?
Yeah, he's been top. Obviously, it's the same position that what he played, and to have that knowledge and experience working alongside it every single day, and he's always there for me and to help me and to guide me, and he knows all the pictures that I'm seeing on the pitch. He knows when the pressure's coming, and he really simplifies the game for me, leading into the game. On match day, speaking to me throughout, making sure I'm understanding what he wants from me in that game, and he makes it very, very clear and simple what he needs from me, and that obviously then helps me to go out and execute the game plan. So he's been great for me, and he's still better than me when he joins in.
Nice. Right, our number 2 talking point from our big 3 has to be Joe Bryan. That free kick especially. Harrison, were you aware that was what was about to be attempted, or were you waiting for a cross into the box?
I'm going to take some credit. I whispered in his ear. We spoke before in the week how aggressive, and we saw in the previous playoff games how aggressive the goalkeeper is on wide free kicks, and he wants to come and collect everything. And probably the only player in, I think it was 115th minute, to have the power to execute that from the distance is Joe Bryan. Yeah. And when the gaffer pulled him over and I looked over, I said, he's definitely going to have to go for this. So I was fully aware of what was happening. I even tried to point to Mitro to sort of make Brentford think we're going to put this back post. And as soon as it left his foot, I had a perfect view of it going in, and it was amazing.
So, man, you were starting to get into the kind of the tactical mindset, starting to tease them as well. So, I mean, it was an incredible.
That's right.
40 yards with that sort of power. I mean, did you think he had it in his locker? I mean, especially at that point in the game as well, when you've got tight legs.
Yeah, like I said, it's only Joe that could have done that at that moment. In that minute after playing such an intense game, he's a hybrid. He can do that. And I was pretty confident he could do it. And I think we've seen Neymar try it, but not quite.
Oh, yeah. Failed miserably.
Yeah.
You got to be special to be able to score one of those. Jamie, how did it appear from the stands, seeing it from that angle? Because you must have never thought in a month of Sundays he was going to attempt to go on goal from 40 yards.
I'm looking at Harrison Reed and I'm thinking to myself, yeah, do you know what? He's teeing up Mitro here. I just hope that Mitro is going to be able to head one back on goal and who knows, perhaps score what's going to turn out to be a match-winning goal. That's what we're hoping. I don't think there was anybody, perhaps with the exception of the players and coaching staff, who felt that he would shoot from that sort of range, that sort of distance out. I can't begin to think just how difficult that must be, what a tough skill it must be to execute what he did. It was perfect execution, wasn't it? Absolutely fantastic. It was kind of nice for us because I think I just managed to murmur something before Jim went absolutely ballistic. I thought it was going to go in as soon as he struck it because he struck it so well.
Yeah.
What was it like for you, Ivan? What was it like for you? What was it like for the fans? Because we had a slightly better view, the fact that we were allowed to be at Wembley, and for everybody who wasn't allowed to be there, what was the moment like when you're watching it on your telly? I can't begin to imagine.
I was. I'm not gonna lie to you. I had drunk an awful lot. I was incredibly cut, I think is the word. But it was almost a bit in slow motion for me. Watching, we had a few mates of ours were watching it on the big screen, and I mean, it just didn't feel like it could have gone in. When it hit the back of the net, you're like, how? It took such a moment. It took such a long time for it to kind of compute that it had happened. And how it had happened. It was too far out for it to work. I don't know. Yeah, it was insane. I celebrated hard. I'm not going to lie to you. I tweeted a lot of very embarrassing videos that night. And I celebrated very hard. But it was wonderful. A genuinely wonderful, wonderful feeling. And then to watch him go on and score a second. Did you say anything to him when after the game, after the final whistle, he scores the second? What was it? It was the 3 minutes into added time at the end of extra time. What do you say to him, Harrison? The guy's just scored 2 goals at Wembley. He's and he's not known for his goal scoring either.
I don't think anyone was talking. I think everyone was just shouting and screaming, to be honest. But later on that evening, I think quite a few people said to him, "Do you realise what you've done here?" And I don't think he still does, to be honest. I don't really know how much. I don't really think he knows how much of a hero he was that night, and to do that on that stage is a special thing. And it's all the hard work he put into the season. And when he was running forward for the second goal, I asked him, "Can Joe please just stop? We need to defend this lead here." And then he goes and slots it in, and the feeling there is unexplainable. But touching on what you said, I think
finish as well.
Yeah. The touch and then finish with his right foot. But touching on the first goal, it was slow motion for everyone. I think if you watch the knockout at the back stick, he doesn't realise it's gone in for about 3 seconds.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone could quite believe it. And the videos that were sent into me from my friends and stuff watching it, the delayed reaction and the celebrations was funny to watch.
Oh yeah, it was unbelievable. It really was unbelievable. And I'd already celebrated. Again, I'd had a few drinks, but I'd celebrated and embarrassingly sort of run off sort of around this. I was outside watching it when Neeskens had a free kick, didn't he? Was it in the second half that kind of hit the side of the net?
Yeah.
And I celebrated so hard. Like I was convinced that had gone in. So I was kind of maybe a little bit sort of holding back. And so when that 40-yarder went in, oh my God. What a goal! What a goal!
I think every time Keller steps up, I think everyone's expecting a goal now, aren't they?
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I don't know what happened to him at the end of the season. He just suddenly found his free kick boot, didn't he? I mean, just unbelievable with Neeskens. Right, we'll move on quickly to our third big talking point, and it has to be obviously promotion. to the Premier League. First up, Harrison, what was your feelings when that final whistle went?
I've tried to explain it to so many people. Just relief and elation. All the hard work that we had put in, and then obviously they got the goal just before the final whistle, and you start to think, oh no, please don't. But when the ball's gone back to the keeper and it's gone in the air and the whistle blown, you just see everyone running down from the bench. And I think I've done a 360 and ended up celebrating with Betts and Marek and missed everyone else. But no, the feeling, I cannot explain it. Unbelievable.
What's it like being such an important part of Scott's plans? You became such a vital part of our team. To know that at that final whistle, there's a chance after all that work and the journey you've been on, you might just end up going back to your parent club. What does that feel like?
It's a strange feeling, actually. Obviously, at that moment in time, and after the game, in my mind, I was going to be a Fulham player, and there is parts of the process for the transfer where you're thinking, okay, maybe it's not going to happen. And then obviously you think about all the hard work you put in for the club, and we obviously a bit disappointed not to come back and enjoy what we achieved and get back into the big time in the Premier League. But in that moment, I was never thinking about my parent club or anything like that. I was really focused on I'm going to be a Fulham player next season.
How long did celebrations go on for?
I'm going to let you into a secret. I couldn't celebrate. I don't know what happened to me after the game. It was just the exhaustion combined with the celebrations tipped me over the edge. And I think it was by the time the game finished, half an hour later, I was in my bed fast asleep.
Really? I don't know what to say. I'm kind of
No. We made up for it the next day.
What did you get up to the next day?
We just met up as a team and had a few drinks and spoke about obviously the night before and cracked on and had a good celebration.
And how was Scott as well after the final whistle?
Yeah, it was. I think everyone saw he was quite emotional, and I think that comes from it was a long season. It was a difficult season. It probably couldn't have thrown much more at us as a team and him as a manager, especially in his first full season. And I think the overriding feeling for him was he was so proud of us and what he achieved. Also, I think it was a 5 going on out there. So I think he was quite emotional, but it was great to see.
And did you? I don't know. You might have seen this, Jamie, knocking around online, but there was a wonderful clip because it was such a beautiful, heartfelt speech. And I was after the final whistle, and I was proper choked up listening to it. And then someone put it to the streets, "Dry your eyes." Did you see that?
I did.
I saw it, yeah.
And do you know if Scott's seen it?
I don't know. You probably would have seen it. I'm sure you've seen it.
Works
great
really
video.
well, isn't it?
Great video, yeah.
Scarily well. Jamie, how were you at the final whistle?
Well, I tell you what, we were relieved because we were delighted to be there, and it was a long season. It was a truncated season, wasn't it, with the hiatus in the middle there and not being able to at one stage, or fearing at one stage that we might not get the opportunity to finish it. So it was a job well done, and it was almost like culmination, tears in the eyes, just genuine excitement, and not only excitement for the fans, but real excitement for the players, because Harrison can obviously touch on this and will have a far greater knowledge of it than you and I, Ivan. But we get to see the players at fairly close quarters, and there really is that great camaraderie, isn't there? You look at the players, the way they all get on, and it's not as if they're sort of forced together. They want to be together, and you can really see that Scott has sort of harnessed and instilled a great sort of belief and determination within the group.
Yeah, no, I absolutely. I can agree. It's lovely to see that team spirit, and it's going to be. I mean, I suppose sort of looking on now to the Premier League. I suppose that team spirit is more important than ever. You know, especially when you go up. The first game is Arsenal at home. It's a tough start to the season. You know, and there's a strong chance that we're not going to come away with necessarily 3 points. Has Scott done anything to kind of prepare you for bouncing back? I think that's probably a skill in itself, isn't it? When you're in the Premier League.
Yeah, not as yet. I'm sure it will be something that he touches on, but at the moment, the words coming out of the manager's mouth is we're going to take this head on and we're going to go into every game positive, like we have done in the last season. You obviously know it's a different challenge this year, and the quality is another level. But the words coming out of the manager's mouth is we're going to take this head on and we're going to go into every game and be fully confident and implement our style of football and really take it on.
And are you feeling confident ahead of Saturday? Do you feel ready?
Feel ready. Getting there. I missed the first 3 or 4 days of pre-season, unfortunately, but I was in today, topping up, and it's been a good couple of weeks getting the hard work in and getting ready, and we're working really hard.
Nice. Are you excited to be back in the Premier League?
Yeah, definitely. It's everyone's dream. It's where you want to be playing your football. It's just such a shame that obviously we won't be doing it in front of a packed crowd. But it's an amazing feeling to be kicking off the Premier League season on Saturday at 12:30. And it's obviously a great game to start with Arsenal at home. And we're really looking forward to it as a group. We're confident and we'll stay that way.
Jamie, Arsenal at home, a big game to start our campaign. What are your takes on it?
I think it's a good and a bad game in many respects. You can kind of look at it whichever way you take it, and I'm very much a glass half full man. So I think it's a great opportunity. Arteta did a wonderful job, didn't he, as Arsenal manager last season? He went in after Unai Emery, and I think he really managed to garner a great team spirit, similar to what Scott did when he got the opportunity at the back end of our Premier League season. Things weren't right at Arsenal, which kind of meant that as soon as a new manager went in, he put his stamp on it and he proved to be successful. He knew the club, having played for the club. And I think the players quickly sort of realised that he had a good idea of what was required. He's very much a players manager by all accounts. Obviously, he's recently finished playing. So I think he's done a wonderful job as Arsenal manager. The fact that Scott had the opportunity at the back end of our last Premier League season, I think that gives the team a real fighting chance. And there's great belief, isn't there, within the group. It took us a while to get going after the problems with COVID-19. We didn't get the results that we wanted for the first couple of games. And then the players really hit their straps at the back end of the season. Make no doubt about it, we've got a very, very strong playing squad. Arsenal, they're a wonderful side. They really are. We've mentioned about the manager going in there doing a great job. But I really think that we can surprise some teams during this current campaign or the upcoming campaign with the players that Scott's got at his disposal, Ivan. I'm nice and confident.
And does it help going in, would you say, Harrison, as the underdog? So often in the Championship, we went in as favourites with pretty much most games to take all the points. In a way, does it sometimes take the pressure off to go in as the underdog with a game like Arsenal?
Yeah, I think it's like you said, it's a different feeling going into the games. As the underdog, it's a great feeling. The pressure's off surrounding you, but obviously we know as players it's pressure to perform and to get the points. But like you said, it's a totally different feeling going into the game. And like Jamie said, I think we can surprise a lot of teams this season.
Nice, I hope so. And next up as well after that, we've got Leeds as well. Again, I mean, are you excited to be playing them? You've played them a few times now, but excited to play them on the biggest stage, as it were.
Yeah, it's going to be great. Go back to Ellen Road, and I think we owe them one. We obviously didn't get the result last time we was there, and we're going to go back there and hopefully off the back of 3 points against Arsenal going to Ellen Road, and it'll be a great game.
Fantastic. Right, we've got some fan questions for you now. We opened up to Twitter, let them know we were having you on today. So loads and loads of questions to get through. Are you happy to answer some for us?
Yeah, of course.
Fantastic. All right, so we'll start with Eddie at Eddie FFC. I want to know, what's your favourite league game of the season, excluding the playoffs, and why?
My favourite game? I think I'll go back to the 2-1 victory against Leeds, 21st of December, I think it was. It was a massive game for us. We kind of felt that they were getting away from us a little bit at the top two, and we felt the pressure going into the game. And I think it was my first game back from injury. and we obviously got the 2-1 win. It was a great game. It was a great atmosphere at the Cottage. I remember that very clearly, that game. So I'd say my favourite game of the season, barring the playoff, would be the Leeds game at home.
Good answer. Jamie, do you have a favourite game from the season?
Well, do you know what? I think I'm going to go for that game because it was a pivotal 3 points. I might go for Swansea, I suppose, with Mitro's late header, which was another special night. But that Leeds game, I was delighted to see Josh Onomah score because I think he's a real talented midfield player. Took a while to get going in a Fulham shirt, but when he did get going, he really showed some class performances, and he got that great finish, didn't he, to help us earn the 3 points. I think it was always massive when we had Harrison in the team, and I think it would have made perhaps an even bigger impact had Harrison not had one or two sort of injuries that he picked up. Had he been there the whole season, who knows, maybe we wouldn't have had the playoffs. The positive, I suppose, is that we were able to do it via Wembley again and get back there. But it might have even been automatic. Such a good presence in front of the back four, holding his position, breaking up the play. The real complete midfielder at doing his job effectively. A great signing. It still hasn't quite sunk in, I don't think, that we've got him signed on the dotted line.
No, it's fantastic. I'll ask you now, be as honest as you want, Harrison. Honestly, just blow your own trumpet. Do you think if you had been fit all season and played every game, you would have gone? Come on, we got 100% honest. Would we have gone up automatically?
Yeah. How can I answer that? I don't know. I don't know. No, I think the journey was the journey for us this season, and I think it was always going to be the playoffs and winning at Wembley. And if someone guarantees you a win at Wembley, it's the best way to go up. So,
and getting to silence Brentford as well.
Yeah, exactly that.
Always fun. Another question as well from Georgina Pottinger. She said, "My son Jake plays for Worthing Miners, where you played as a junior. Is that right?
Yeah.
Wants to know how you progressed your career after Worthing Miners, and do you have any tips for him?"
I'd say enjoy the football. It gets to a later stage in your career where it's a lot of pressure. So at that young age, it's important to enjoy and continue enjoying. I obviously took a step up to Southampton from Worthing Miners at a young age, but I remember my days at Worthing Miners was just fun, and it was playing with my friends, and it was definitely the start of my career there. So good luck to you.
Nice. Sam Gardner has tweeted, "Who's your most underrated player in the squad from last season?"
I think Josh Onomah, maybe. He got the plaudits towards the end, but throughout the season, when the pressure was on him, he stepped up and he scored some vital goals. And I mean, I see him every day in training. You don't go near him because you don't get the ball of him. Really. So I'd say, Josh Onomah, he was a very, very important player in our team. And I know it was difficult at the start of his career with Fulham, but I think as the season progressed and he got fitter and stronger and got the games under his belt, I think we all saw the real Josh Onomah.
It was certainly tough for him as well, wasn't it? At the beginning of the season, you got the very positive side of Twitter, where you got the love being sort of fired into your phone at all times, whereas he, there was definitely a point where there was a lot of stick on Twitter aimed at him. I mean, it takes quite a player to not let something like that get under your skin, and not only that, but to progress and become what he's become now. Again, probably one of the fan favourites.
Yeah, I think at that stage it would have been tough for him. Of course, you kind of want to shut that off and focus on the people that are working with you day to day, and know that when you get the more games under your belt, you will show everyone. And I think the belief from the manager was massive for him at that stage, because he probably would tell you himself that he wasn't performing to the level that he wanted to. And he would have known that. So for the manager to stick with him and give him the run of games, and as we look back on the season and the important games, he stepped up and scored the goals, and it's great to now see him getting on the other end, and the positive tweets and the positive feedback from everyone around him.
Absolutely. Sam FFC1 wants to know, what's your favourite thing to do in London?
Oh, go for some food, of course.
Where are you eating? Where do you like to go out to eat?
Novikov is probably one of my favourites. I find myself there quite a lot, enjoying the food, and I don't venture into London too much, to be honest. Obviously living in Surrey, so when I do, I go for some nice food. an overnight stay at a hotel and then a little bit of shopping the next day. But it's
Nice.
great to be close to London, yeah.
Again, without giving away too much, whereabouts in Surrey are you?
I'll tell you, I'm in Isha.
Isha. So Isha's
Yeah.
got some, is it? Yeah, there's a few really nice restaurants in Isha.
Yeah, it's lovely. It's a nice high street, walking distance to the high street if you want to know any more about where I live. So yeah, no, Isha's nice. There's plenty of coffee shops, some nice restaurants. It's a nice place.
No, really nice place. Okay, so Sid from Flushed Away, what a Twitter name that is. He wants to know, what's Mitro like behind the scenes?
He's an animal.
Yeah?
Yeah, he's one of the first in every day. He's in the gym before anyone turns up. He's in the gym after training. He's always working hard. He's an inspiration, to be honest. I've not really seen too many people work as hard as he does. And he gets the rules on the pitch. He scored 26 goals, he got the golden boot, and he fired us to promotion. So he's an animal. He works harder than a lot of people, and he reaps the rewards.
Nice. You mentioned a little bit earlier when you thought Joe Bryan was going for goal from 40 yards, you communicated with him. Did you do that like a cheeky whisper in the ear? Do you guys have like some sort of kind of subtle signal as to not give anything away?
Me and Joe don't have to talk. We know what's going on.
Just the eyes.
Just the eyes. Just
Nice.
the eyes.
I like it. At FFC, Will wants to know, how did you find getting a taste of Premier League level football with Southampton as a youngster between 2013 and 2017?
Yeah, it was great. Obviously, I was really young. I was learning the game, and to be dipped in and out of the Premier League at that age is amazing. I thought I was ready to play more, but looking back at it, it was the right decision not to throw me in the deep end too much, and just get me a taste and keep me hungry. And I've got a little bit of experience that I can take into the season, so it was obviously amazing at that age to be playing in the Premier League, and for it to be taken away from me, and the opportunities to be less, made me more hungry, and I'm delighted to be back in the Premier League now and ready to put my stamp on it.
Mark Walker wants to know, what do you top your Weetabix with on the morning of a match day? Now, he's taking it as Reggie have Weetabix. First up, do you have Weetabix?
Not on the day of the game, but when I do, I have tons of sugar.
Just sugar, just pile it high with sugar.
Yeah,
What's your breakfast on match day?
I have a ham and cheese omelette, and then I have some yogurt after.
Nice. High protein, yeah.
High protein, yeah. And then get the carbs in.
Let's put it on the flip side. Jamie, match day breakfast. What are you having?
Listen, look at the figure that I've got. It's got to be full English, hasn't it? I've got to do it because the boys can't. Yeah. That's my excuse anyway.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. It's tradition, right? It's tradition.
Old school, got to be.
Exactly. Okay, Paul Hitchens wants to know, how did you get stuck in a car wash with Tom Kearney?
So after lockdown, me and TC used to pop to the local garage, grab a bite to eat, a little coffee, and I decided to get my car cleaned. It's a bit of a dodgy car wash, to be honest. So I took my car in and pressed the button, put the code in, and I'm sitting there relaxing, having some food, and all of a sudden the barrier starts coming towards my car and just stops dead. I'm thinking, oh no, if this doesn't stop, it's going through the windscreen. So it stopped, jumped out with my slides on, feet soaked because it was obviously pouring with water in there. Managed to slip out the back and get in there and tell him to fix it up. So yeah, it was a driving car wash, and it just packed up.
Wow, that's nice though. So you guys used to get in the car and go have a little bite to eat and stuff together.
Well, yeah, with obviously lockdown, it was in and out. You couldn't stay around the training ground, and obviously they gave you a wrap and some food to go away with. But sometimes you want a bit extra in the garage, so we go the same way home. So we used to see each other there a bit, and just have a little chat when we could, and obviously social distance, of course. Yeah. And he found it very, very funny that I was stuck in the car wash.
So let's have a look. Adam, 1879, wants to know, who's the quietest player amongst the Fulham squad?
Quietest player? I'd say maybe Heck keeps himself to himself.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'd say. At the start, definitely. He's a bit louder now. But Heck's quite quiet.
You sort of expect a centre back to be quite noisy, sort of yelling orders, no?
Yeah, you do, but he's not.
But he's quite quiet, quite reserved.
Yeah, no, in training and stuff, he's obviously on it and loud, and when he comes off, he's very, very chilled out, and you don't really hear too much from Heck.
No. And congratulations to him. He's just had a baby girl, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's been fair play to him. He's been coming in and driving straight off to get back to the baby, and congratulations to him and his girlfriend.
Yeah, congratulations. Andy Marshall, we've got a few more. Andy Marshall says, do you like the new kit? And he also says, can you show it to us? Now, we're recording this about 2:30. I believe the kit was released about 12 minutes ago. So, first up, have you seen the new kit?
I've seen little bits of it. It's been around the training ground. A few of the lads have been trying it on.
Yeah, what's your thoughts on it? I love the home shirt.
Yeah, home shirt's lovely. I'm not sure the yellow is going to go too well with my hair.
It's very yellow. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes those kits. Yeah. But Jamie, first up, have you seen the home and away kit?
I've had the opportunity to see them both, and I tell you what, I don't think it matters what kit that man Harrison Reed is wearing. You know that he's going to perform. You'll pull it off style-wise, I'm sure.
I'm sure I will.
I mean, it takes quite a man to pull off bright yellow.
I don't think I've got the skin complexion for it either, to be honest.
No. I'm the same. I'm a little bit too pale to pull off. I mean, there's something about, like, a couple of times we've had really bright away kits. There was a point where Fulham had a bright orange away kit.
Yes.
And it really grows on you. They're really nice. There's something about, they're quite striking. So I've got a feeling the away kit might end up being really popular with the fans. But there's something quite classic about the home shirt.
Yeah, I like the home shirt. It's good. It's top.
Yeah, really nice. Dylan Shavas wants to know, have you got any pre-game superstitions, any rituals?
Towards the end of the season, I had some actually. I was wearing the same trainers to the game. I was kind of the same socks on before the game. I always do right boot, then left boot, and I always do right shin pad, then left shin pad. But yeah, I developed the same trainer going to the games after lockdown. So, but I've been there off. Now. They're in the wardrobe.
Is that the first time you've ever done anything like that? If it's only just sort of developed when you've been playing with, previously for other clubs, did you ever have any superstitions?
No, not really. It was always right boot, right shin pad, left shin pad. But yeah, I ended up with the trainer for some strange reason. It was just in my head that I had to keep wearing them because the performances were good, and especially going to Wembley, I didn't want to change, and it worked. Yeah.
Nice, I like that. Jamie, have you got any pre-match rituals?
Well, Jim and I got into the habit where we started shaking hands with each other, and obviously with social distancing, that made that very, very difficult, so we decided to give each other a kiss. No, we didn't really. What we did is we just sort of exchanged pleasantries with each other from a couple of metres away. No, just a shaking of the hand, really. It's nice to perhaps chat with some of the players as we come round pitch side. We might get the opportunity to see the boys warming up and always give them a little good luck message, and then chat to the likes of yourself and some of the other guys who are working round on the far side with us. At the back end of the season, we were more in the press box. We might get the opportunity to chat with some of the other members of the press and just sort of get a feeling with how it was going to be. And you could always sense it. Certainly, I think that was instilled in the players from Scott, that they had their game faces on, and it was genuine belief. Harrison said that they realised it was going to be a Wembley season, i.e. the opportunity of going through the playoffs, perhaps getting to Wembley. I think everybody kind of realised and perhaps felt at one point that might be the culmination to the season. And again, it proved to be. We really enjoy playing at Wembley Stadium, and all the time the results keep going our way. Very, very good. Yeah, everything from start to finish just went Fulham's way, didn't it, throughout the campaign?
It really did. It really seemed to, didn't it? Towards, especially towards the end, like you said, it didn't all start. Those first couple of games out of lockdown weren't got us worrying maybe a little bit, and then just things seemed to click. We sort of then came out firing. It was brilliant. A couple more questions now. Final two. Chicken Wizard wants to know, what can you tell us about your former Southampton teammate Mario Lemina? He's obviously signed for us on loan.
Yeah, he's a top player. He's a real box-to-box player, very, very powerful. And I think when he's at his best, he's driving past players. He's breaking lines, and he's going to be a very exciting player to watch and to play alongside this season, definitely.
I look forward to seeing him play. And final one, I thought I'd end with this. This is always fun. We get this actually a lot, this sort of tweet, but at Fiery Fulham wants to know who has the best dress sense at the club and who has the worst. We'll start with, in your opinion, who's the best dressed at Fulham?
Ooh, I will go with Marcus Bettinelli as best dressed.
Yeah, he's pretty slick.
Yeah, he's pretty slick. He's I like his gear. He comes with the two pieces sometimes. He comes with some nice pieces. So Marcus Bettinelli definitely up there.
Okay.
Worst dress is difficult because some people put effort in, some people don't. Well, he's not one I want to cross here, but maybe Abubakar Kamara. I mean, puts too much effort in, to be honest. Him or Cabano, actually. Some of the tracksuits that Keba comes in, not really up my street. So yeah, I'd say Abs or Keba, right down there.
I mean, they're out there, aren't they? Those it takes a particular confidence that I don't possess. It sounds like you don't possess as well, Jamie. I don't know about you, but
I certainly don't.
To pull off some of those tracksuits that Abubakar Kamara shows off on Instagram. Yeah, it takes a particular confidence, right?
Spot on.
Yeah,
I think so. All right, I think that's it now. That's it for our first Monday Night Fulham Fix of our Premier League campaign. Thank you very much to our guest, Jamie Reid. Thank you very much, Jamie.
Thanks, Ivan. Always lovely to be here.
Lovely to see you again. And enjoy the weekend as well. And of course, thank you very much as well to Fulham midfield General Harrison Reid. Best of luck for this weekend and the season ahead, Harrison. Will you come back on later on in the season?
Certainly will. Thanks for having me, guys.
No, it's been an absolute pleasure. And thank you for eventually signing that thing. Appreciate it. Right. We'll be back in a couple of weeks. Until then, take care. See ya.